Heather, thank you so much for all you do. I started listening to you about a year ago and finally joined the community in February. It has been life changing, but still in the slow and maintainable way. I started tracking and just hit my 144-day streak and eating slightly below what I believe to be my maintenance calories and started walking every day. Since January, I have lost under 30 pounds in what has felt like the easiest way possible. I'm eating the foods I like, eating a treat every night, and my binge eating has almost disappeared, but when it does happen, now I actually track it, which has decreased the amount I binge dramatically. My question is, how do I convince myself to take a maintenance break? Since I haven't felt like I've been deprived or really tired, or I'm sorry, or really tried to lose the weight, it's hard to get myself to actually try to eat at maintenance. However, this last week I started feeling more binge tendencies coming on and let myself eat at or slightly even above maintenance to try to prevent an actual binge. So I'm seeing signs that maintaining is necessary, and I unintentionally and permissively have maintained for the last week. But it's so hard to actually choose to maintain. I just hit 181 pounds, and though now would be good since hitting the 170s was my first weight loss goal, and I worry if I hit it so easily, I'll get back in the diet mentality and just keep trying to go lower. Also, how much time intentionally maintaining before going back into those modes is enough time to really get the value from maintaining? All right, great question. All right, so I really believe, and I just had this conversation with one of my coaching clients this week. I truly believe that you taking a periodic month out here and there in your journey and focusing on maintenance is a total investment in your future. I've had several clients actually all within a short span of each other doing maintenance breaks. And it's first off, it's interesting to see personalities and how they struggle with maintenance in different ways. And what I would suggest is one, if we're talking about a time frame, you want to think about intentionally, like laying this out almost like work and vacation time. Okay. You don't just usually randomly decide to take a vacation. Sometimes you do, maybe, but for the most part, your boss says, "Hey, here's your 2 weeks of vacation." And typically, you probably find a certain place you want to go and you book the vacation, and then you work the rest of the year, right? So I want you to think the same way about your maintenance break. You don't want to necessarily feel ready or completely exhausted before you do it. You want it to be structured in. So a good amount of time for a diet cycle for most people is going to be, it depends on the person, how much weight they have to lose and what they're doing to go about it. But a typical good dieting window would be anywhere from 8 weeks to probably 3 months, right? So anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks is a good amount of time to be in a caloric deficit. If you go longer, like more the 3 month time frame, then I would say taking 1 month off would be totally reasonable. So taking 3 months on a deficit, 1 month of maintenance, 3 months on a deficit, 1 month on maintenance. And it needs to be pre-scripted out, because if you go based on how you're feeling, there's going to be days where you're feeling super engaged and there's going to be days you feel like you're not so engaged. But if you set these definitive, here's my vacation time frame, here's my maintenance break, right? You know exactly that you're working up until that point, and then you're going to take your official break at maintenance. So that's number one. I would say pre-lay it out. Don't try to guess at when you should do it while you're in the journey. Like, think about it ahead. I knew for me, when I was doing my weight loss journey, I knew I was taking a maintenance break over the holidays. So, like, I think if memory serves me right, I started roughly the week before Thanksgiving and I went all the way through to the end of the year. That was huge for me. I never done that before. And I'll tell you now, to this day, I'm so thankful I did. Everyone was confused why I would have chosen to do that. Nobody understood why I would pay my dues to go to Weight Watchers when all I was going to do is maintain. I knew that I had gained weight so many times before that spending money to learn how to maintain or to take that maintenance break while still doing all the behaviors was essential. So what I would encourage you to do is look at your calendar, think about taking maybe 3 months if you can handle that at a deficit, depending on, again, on how much weight you have to lose in the modality that you're using. Take about a month off. A month is a good amount of time if you're truly wanting to practice maintenance. And the reason I say that is because the first 2 weeks, usually you're getting the kinks out. and you are going to see the most weight fluctuation. So when most people transition from weight loss to maintenance, if there's going to be an upward trend in the scale by a couple pounds, which you should expect that, it can sometimes go the other way, but I would anticipate anywhere from like a 2 to 4 pound gain. And the reason is it's not fat weight. It's okay. You went from eating 1,700 calories to 2,200. Well, guess what? That extra 400 calories has some volume to it. Okay. It might be additional carbohydrates. There might be additional water and glycogen stores. So there is going to be a fluctuation. So for that first 2 weeks, you're kind of learning the ropes, settling in, your body's adjusting to the higher caloric range. The second 2 weeks, and I just had a call with one of my clients this week where she's in that second or third week, I think no, third week. She's in the third week, and we noticed that her weight just ever so slightly had increased. And I said, we might have overshot your maintenance calories by a hair, but we'll know better next week because by that fourth week, if your weight went up a little bit each week, then you know you overshot it just a little bit. If it only goes up a little bit the first 2 weeks and then it stabilizes, you know you pretty much hit it dead on, right? So it gives you a little bit more feedback information. So this is for somebody who really wants to play around with it. They really want to settle into it. They really want to experience it. I think a month is a good amount of time. Now, you can, of course, take a maintenance break for a week or 2 weeks or whatever if you just need that mental reset and you're just really feeling frustrated and that kind of thing. But if you wanted to use it as an educational experience and you want to learn, I would encourage you to think about doing it for a month. So that's kind of the first couple questions. It's when should you know to put it in? About much time should you plan to structure it in? And then what you want to do is again, mark your calendar, just like you put on their vacation week and you block it out, right? You would put maintenance month, block it out, and then have your date selected for when you're going to go back into your calorie deficit. And that way you're not trying to convince yourself because you've already established this is the plan. There's a difference between having a plan, following the plan versus just kind of trudging along and hoping you feel kind of like you want to stay motivated and do it versus, okay, this is when I diet, this is when I maintain, and this is going to be the plan I follow.